Today I'm going to go through 10-ish commands I think you need to be able to run in the terminal as a programmer. So when you code, when you get started, you might be using some IDE and you might not need to run a lot of this terminal commands. But I think as you go further in programming, you're going to have to learn some of these commands because they're quite basic and they simplify your life a lot at some point. So let's get started here. So the first command I'm going to show is the pwd command, and that's your present working directory. So it shows you like right now I'm working out of the knowledge artifacts folder in the Raleigh 94 folder in the users folder. And what's important to know is that Unix systems work in a file tree structure. So every object in the on the system is a file, and so this tells you what part of the file tree you're currently operating out of. So the next command I'm going to show you is the cd command, and the cd command actually changes directories. So the dot dot represents the folder, the parent folder. So previously we were in the knowledge artifacts, so we ran the cd change directory going to the parent directory, which is Raleigh 94. And if I ran pwd again, it's going to tell me I'm now in Raleigh 94, in the Raleigh 94 folder. So the next command I'm going to go through is the ls command, which means list. So this lists all the folders and files in the current directory. Currently in this directory, in this Raleigh 94 directory folder, if you will, has just folders. It has no files in it. But if we ran ls minus l with a hyphen l, and what we would see is we have more information about those folders, right? So this part of the output is telling us what permissions are currently on those folders. I'm not gonna get into that, but that's something for another video. And we see when these folders were created, the size of the folders, and we see the folders. Now, if we ran ls and ran la, we're gonna see some extra stuff that was not in the output before, and these are hidden folders, right? So these are folders that are not visible on the on the file tree by when you just actually use the ls command. So these are kind of hidden, and you got to use the special option here with the hyphen a, and you don't have to run the la together. You can actually run ls and run hyphen a, and you're still gonna see the output here. So let me just yeah. So so yeah. Um, so continuing here. Let's say we want to go show we want to switch to the current folder, which makes no sense, but I just want to show you that you can use the dot sign, the dot to you know, the dot as your current folder as well. So let's let me open another terminal actually, so so it's easy to see. So let's do this. Let's make a directory. So we're gonna make a folder in out of our home folder, and we're gonna call this the test folder. So this is the next command I think you should know. So it just creates a directory. So if we ran ls again, we're gonna see that folder show up here. And now let's do remove directory, which is as basic as it gets. So you create a folder and you remove the folder, test folder. Maybe do ls again, it's gone. It's disappeared. So we've deleted that. So let's create some folders here. Another way to use the make directory command is you can add multiple folders to create. So you don't have to run it with one, you can run it with two. Run ls again. We see we have test one, test two, test three, and we can actually remove multiple as well at the same time. And test two, and run it again. We have just test three, but I want to use the test one folder actually for the following examples. So let's cd. So currently we are still working out of our home directory with the users rolling 94. So let's actually do cd test1. So we move to the test1 directory, and if we run present working directory, it's going to tell us we're in the test1 directory. And let's create a file. So this is the next command I think you need to, it's important to know, and this is how you quickly create a file. So just going to do readme.txt, do ls, we see we have a file there. So readme.txt is a file in the folder test1. So let's actually output some stuff to that file. So we run echo. Echo is another command. It just means you're just going to print some string to the terminal, or you're going to print that string into a file. So we go hanging in the terminal. Yeah, let's just do that. Quite simple command, simple text. And we have to use this symbol here, which is a kind of like a greater than symbol, and we're going to output that to the readme.text. So this is kind of like a streaming syntax. So we're streaming the output that would usually go to the terminal. We're streaming that into the file we just created. So it's called readme.txt. We run that. Then we can then do cat. Another command you should know, cat, and that means what this command does is actually it's going to output all the content of that file to the terminal. So you see in the terminal it tells you hanging in the terminal. So let me switch terminals again. Yeah, so we previously just ran cat readme txt. So we're currently in the test1 folder, so we're still hanging in terminal. So what we can do now, we can actually run the next command I want to show you, which is the cp, which means to copy. So we can copy the content, we can copy that file, and this is pretty much when you right click and then you do copy and paste. So this is going to copy the readme.txt file and create a second copy of that, and do readme2.txt. Now if we do ls, we see we have two files, readme.txt and readme2.txt. So we've seen the cat, echo, touch, and copy command. Those are the new ones after the introduction commands. So now let's actually copy the readme file .txt to the test3 folder, right? So I told you already, like the dot means go to the parent folder, and then we select the test3 folder. Yeah, so we're copying the readme file. So before we had two arguments to the cp command as files, so then it copied the file, made a duplicate of it. Now we have the second argument as a folder. So what this does is it's gonna actually copy that file, having the same name. It's gonna copy it to another folder. So now we are still in the test1 directory, but if we did a cd, went back to the parent directory, which is the ... and we did ls, we can then actually switch to test3, right? And then we can do ls, and we see the file there. So now if we actually went back, we can go back to test1 by just doing cd test1, and now we can ls and we can see the content of that. So the next command I want to show you guys is going to be the move command, right? So I'm still in my test1 folder, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to do mv, which means move readme2.txt. I'm going to move this completely. I'm not making a copy of this now. I'm actually moving the readme2. So we made a copy of the readme1, but now I'm going to move the readme2 to the test3 folder, right? So if we then did cd and we went to /test3 and we did ls, we're going to see readme2. Before we only had readme.txt because we copied it. Now we moved to readme2, and if we move back to test1, and we did ls, the readme2 is not there anymore. So So now I'm going to show you some commands to kind of clean up your file, your file structure, your file system. So now we created this bunch of folders, some files, and we want to get rid of them. So what do we do here? So we're currently working out of, so now we want to cd to test3, and we're working out of test3. So we're going to remove, and that's the next command, rm, remove the readme 2.txt file, and it just deletes it. So when you give this, you have to be careful with this, because once you delete it, it's gonna be hard for you to recover. You're gonna have to know some other special skills if you want to recover that. So now you remove the readme2.txt. Now you can also remove folders. And what's actually interesting here, guys, is both folders actually have content in them. So you can only remove a folder after you've removed all the content, right? So let me see if what we have in test3. We have the readme.txt. So if I try to remove this right now, test3, remove, we can just do remove here. Oh yeah, you can't remove that because it's a reference. So if we went back and we did remove test3, it's gonna say it's a directory. So, but if you did remove and you did the recursively test3, it's gonna remove it, because it's gonna first delete the file in it and then delete the folder. And to clean up, we can also cd, so we're in the parent, so we ls, so we actually see test1, so we can do ls test1, so list the content of test1. So we can actually do the same for that. So we can do remove recursively test1. Now you have to be very careful when using this remove recursively, because if you go to the right folder, you're going to delete everything from the top of the file tree all the way to the bottom. So you could delete a huge amount of files. So you got to be really careful with this. And actually, when you configure, if you're not running as the admin, which I am currently running as, it's going to actually ask you to confirm that you want to delete that you want to delete the files or the folders. So you might have to sometimes, yeah, you might actually have to use it like another command, another option to the remove command, which is going to be the F, and this means force. So I would recommend to actually delete things manually unless you're absolutely sure. So delete the files first, so you're sure, and then delete the folder, especially when you're starting out. But as you get more advanced and you're more confident in what you're doing, then you can then go using the R option or the F or the RF option. So that's the video, guys. Just some commands, just to recap. So we saw the pwd command to show where you're currently at in your terminal. Pwd. We saw the cd command, cd to some folder. We saw the ls command. We saw the ls with the options. The make directory, remove directory, create a file, output to the file, move the file, copy files, and delete files and folders. So that's the video, guys. Thanks for watching. Hope you learned something. Get started with programming and start using these commands, because you could actually you do these a lot. You do create a lot of folders and you do create a lot of files when you code. So with these, you can actually get started in the terminal, get comfortable, and yeah, keep programming.